Hey, this week has been phenomenal, especially this weekend. And I'm going to talk about three things. The first of which is the fact that in-person events are back. And this week for me, that meant I went to three of the major art fairs, the Armory, which is now in its new, I think it's going to be the permanent home, which is Javits Center. And I'm writing about that below. It's so great. I mean, whoever did it, and I've got the name of the sort of the designers that are in the blog, they just made it fantastic. I thought I would never like anything as much as the peers. This I thought was much better, and I spoke to a few of the gallerists and they all seemed to like it as well. So that was really great. The Independent was at this newly opened Cipriani event space on South Street, so it overlooks the water, like looking into Governor's Island. So beautiful. I mean, it was just fantastic. And then, so those two are sort of like the really big ones. But then the second thing I want to talk about is the most mind-blowing of the art fairs, and that's SpringBreak. And that's the one I always like best because I find it's kind of the most out there. And when it comes to thinking about trends and what you can really anticipate for the future, SpringBreak always delivers, and this year was no exception. And I'm writing about that in number 2 below. And a lot of it is this focus on, their theme this year was, I think it was called Heresy and Hearsay, or Hearsay and Heresy. And the themes were all like, it was medieval, it was mysticism, witches. I mean, it was just really spirituality, very, very, very interesting. And I think it speaks a lot to the kind of like Day of the Dead kind of celebrations we can anticipate this year, which I think is going to be like pretty major. Halloween, which last year was fantastic, I think is going to be even bigger this year. So it was a great read on the zeitgeist. Totally fantastic. Then the third thing I want to talk about is restaurants, and the fact that so last month, on August 17th, I think it was, they first said that there was going to be a vaccine mandate for if you want to eat inside in a restaurant. And I think also everyone working in a restaurant has to be vaccinated and actually have proof of it. But this Monday, September 13th, was in New York City, the first time that, all the restaurants had the sign on the door saying, you cannot come in, you can't eat here if you're not vaccinated. So on Monday, I'd been to this amazing reading for my friend Dave Koenig. Is probably going to be doing a musical. It reminded me a little bit of Rent. It was like really great. So they did this reading at this place called The Lamb, and when it let out, my friend and I wanted to have dinner. Not too many options of things that are open late at that part of town on a Monday. But we went into Bill's Bar and Burger. It's just a really like a sports bar kind of place. And they closed at 9, we went at 8. We had our, my Excelsior pass, and my friend had his CDC card. Anyway, so while we're there, and they seated us, and then while we're there, and the place is not full at all, at least 4 couples came in and wanted to eat, and they were all turned away because they did not have their, proof of vaccine. They weren't even, not that they didn't have the proof, they just hadn't been vaccinated. And, then they, you saw them kind of wandering out in the street, and you saw them wandering by the windows. And I think that's going to have so much more impact on getting people vaccinated than, cheapening the whole vaccine thing by saying, I will pay you $100 if only you'll take this. I mean, I literally saw this on these people's faces. They're like, oh my God, where are we going to go? Because also in Midtown, there aren't that many places that are of this kind of price, which is sort of like a little less expensive, where you can sit outside. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. And then finally, in terms of trend spotting, oh my God, I saw yesterday, I was out for lunch with my friend Andy Cohen, not that Andy Cohen, my Andy Cohen. Anyway, and this woman walks by and she's wearing this kind of like see-through, like a transparent, like a backpack, but she's wearing it in front, and she's got cats in there. Anyway, so I almost jumped up and took a picture of her, and she went by, and I was just regretting that I hadn't taken a photo. And then lo and behold, she comes back, and I run after her, and so that's number 6. You've got to see this. She actually had 2 kittens in there. She told me she had gotten it at on Amazon. So anyway, that's such a weird highlight, and that's it. I think it's a really, really, really good blog today, and the thing with art, even if you're not into art is so important, because directionally and in terms of influences, it's really important. So for any of you into marketing or design or interior design, any of that, this is really important that you track this kind of thing. And that's it. Ciao, ciao.